The last time anyone saw Isaiah Freeman alive, he was standing at the steps of the Brown Chapel AME Church with a Bible in one hand and a petition in the other. "We walk because we must," he had said into the loudspeaker. 2 days later, he was gone, disappeared into the humid Alabama night like smoke into air. For years, his name was whispered in quiet rooms and over dinner tables. Not because he was famous. Not because he was powerful. But because he stood when others knelt. And because of that, someone made sure he would never stand again. Isaiah Freeman was born in 1933, the son of a sharecropper and a schoolteacher. From a young age, he saw two versions of the world: the fields where his father toiled, and the classroom where his mother taught reading from tattered textbooks. Isaiah learned early that knowledge was dangerous, because it made you aware of chains others couldn't see. By 19, he was publishing newsletters for the Montgomery movement under a fake name, warning black workers of illegal firings and police brutality. By 1965, he was working quietly as a strategist for civil rights marches, advising organizers, and helping people who couldn't read or write sign up to vote. He refused to be on stage. "I'm not here for speeches," he said. "I'm here for results." On March 7, 1965, thousands of peaceful protesters gathered to march from Selma to Montgomery in support of voting rights. Isaiah had helped prepare the route, securing medical kits and volunteer medics. But he didn't make it to the bridge that morning. Witnesses say he left the church that night with two white men who claimed to be reporters. The license plate on their car was later traced to a man who had Ku Klux Klan ties, but the investigation went cold. When the marchers were beaten on what became known as Bloody Sunday, Isaiah wasn't there. His absence was loud. His name was never called again at roll call. 5 years later, in 1970, a church in Birmingham was undergoing renovations when a contractor found a note wedged under the floorboards of the pulpit. Written in pencil, the edges water-stained and half-torn, it read, "They took me near the Choctaw Creek. Don't look for me. Tell Lottie to move north. Isaiah." The handwriting matched letters Isaiah had written to his wife, Lottie. But by then, she had already left Alabama, raising their son alone in Detroit. She had given up hope of ever knowing what happened. In 1998, a former FBI informant named Raymond Red Ellis confessed to having seen Isaiah the night he disappeared. In a taped interview given on his deathbed, he said, "They tied him up in the back of a Ford and drove him out past Highway 14. Said they were gonna make an example of the troublemaker with the printing press." Ellis claimed that Isaiah was beaten, tied to a tree, and left to die. His body was never recovered. "Too much fire," Ellis muttered. "Too much hate." Isaiah's son, David Freeman, became a journalist and civil rights attorney. For decades, he carried the weight of a man he'd never truly known. When the truth surfaced in the late 90s, David petitioned the DOJ to reopen the case. A body was exhumed from an unmarked grave near Choctaw Creek in 2002, bones consistent with Isaiah's stature, and a belt buckle engraved with the initials IF. But no charges were ever filed. The last known suspect died of heart failure weeks before the exhumation. Today, Isaiah Freeman's story is not in most textbooks, but his name appears on the Civil Rights Memorial in Montgomery. His granddaughter, a filmmaker, produced a documentary titled Ink-Stained Hands, telling his story and those of other vanished heroes. In 2015, on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, then-President Barack Obama quoted an anonymous marcher in his speech. "They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds." Many believe he was quoting Isaiah's final newsletter. Isaiah Freeman's story, though fictionalized, is not unique. Over 75 civil rights activists were killed or disappeared during the movement. Few names are remembered. Fewer have received justice. But stories like Isaiah's remind us of the cost of silence, the price of bravery, and the power of one voice raised in the dark. They could burn the presses. They could bury the truth. But they couldn't kill the fire.